Good evening, everybody. Jafar, call me, buddy. Okay. Yeah, we're still looking for you. Hey, Sabrina, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm glad this weekend's over. So, tough weekend. And for some folks in Lorcana land, is a tough weekend too. I have my own reasons for it being tough, as most folks who listen know. So yeah. Anyways, so we decided tonight, number one, it's not Sunday night. And there was a lot of news this weekend, right? A lot of things happened this weekend in Lorcana world, and we're here to talk about it. And guess who we brought back? Jake. Yay, we brought Jake back. So Jake was going to help us finish out a tier list, but I doubt we talk about tier list tonight. Who wants to hear about tier list tonight, right?
So, going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on tonight. Anyways, I do not have the stream up on Twitch, so I cannot see the chat. So if one of you guys, Sabrina, yeah, thank you very much. It's not doing its thing in my software tonight. So, okay, as long as we're there, I'm happy. So anyways, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you have not clicked that follow button or that subscribe button at the bottom, well, subscribe means you give us money. I'm not ready for that, but you can follow us. We'd like to get those followers up. We will be posting this to YouTube when we're done. And if you're not following us there, please hop over to YouTube, follow us there. We are looking to do some big things with this podcast. Now that we have an announcement that nobody likes, about the DLCs, and we have World Championships behind us. So I'm going to throw it out there. I know everybody wants to talk about the DLCs, right? But let's talk about the championship first. Because first of all, with the announcement with the DLCs, there's a lot of disappointment to the point that Ravensburger should apologize from taking the focus off of the players because of that announcement they made. I was going to say a bad word. My daughter might have heard me. So, So anyways, let's talk about the players and the championship itself, because that was what this weekend was supposed to be all about. And so, what do you guys think? Do you think the best player won?
I think a lot of them were one of the.
I feel bad saying that.
No, you don't think so?
That was a loaded question, right?
I think in that aspect, yes, but just the way that it came down to it, I guess he was playing an odder, more like aggro side deck, so I guess I can understand that. But I feel like every game that really came down to it was like someone plays their deck, and then the person who's on the play plays their like aggro deck to just kind of secure that win, so that when they can go into their next game on the draw, they have their, so.
It's reasonable.
I feel like I feel like that was kind of like the big gripe, though, that people were saying.
Yeah. I think that the final match was between probably the two best players in the room. Like, I think it coming down to Ed and DKP makes sense. I just think it's unfortunate that I think Ed lost to his own deck list, just not having answers. There wasn't a single answer. In that third deck. I can't remember the order he played anything in, I'm sorry, but the third deck that he played just did not have answers.
Right.
It was red-blue, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he was running B-Prep in the deck, which...
No, he wasn't running any B-Prep.
I don't know that maybe it would have helped him. I'm not sure. DKP did draw 4 goats, inked 1, 3 of them hit the board. That's kind of tough.
Yeah, that was... seeing that in his hand, you know that was like...
Right.
Yeah, with the knowledge, it was a little... it was tough.
I didn't get to watch any of it. I had other matters that we were dealing with over the weekend. And so when I was in the airport flying back, I did get to kind of tune into the stream a little bit. I think I tuned in right when Ed won his semifinal match. And, I think if you blinked, you would have missed that one.
Literally.
Super quick,
There were 10 of us watching it at our friend's house, and one of them went to the bathroom and one of them went to grab food. And they both came back and they were like, "It's over." And we're like, "Oh, yeah. Like, you missed the whole thing."
Yeah.
We're like, "We missed just a game?" I was like, "No, you missed the round."
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, to be honest with you. Felt sorry for Luca. It's like almost like, what hit me? You know, I don't even think he had a chance to even know what was happening there. And no, nothing against him. That just was a perfect storm, perfect draws, perfect decks in the hands of a good player. And yeah, that was tough. That was tough if you'd have been on the other side of that. And then I tuned in when I got home. I watched the replay of the finals match, which was pretty interesting. You know, I thought when Ed went up 2-1, I go, this is his. You know, I just, the way he was playing, I was like, there's just no way he doesn't win this. And, you know, I guess anything can happen. So, and nothing against DKP. That man.
DKP's a fantastic player.
Man played his heart out, man. Played his heart out.
It's not that I don't think he's worthy of winning. I just personally would not have selected him as the best.
Yeah, I understand that. What I think is funny is when they made the announcement of the format of Worlds, DKP was one of the first on social media going, I don't know about this. What do you guys think? I mean, it seemed like he was complaining about it. Smart. He's playing mind games, I think. He wanted that.
He knew all along.
Right,
I think he just went really heavy on the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he practiced a lot and was able to play a lot of games with a lot of different matchups. And then whatever came at him, he was prepared for.
Yeah.
I will say I was surprised. If you guys remember the first time that we discussed the Worlds format, I was very adamant that Zan was going to win.
Yeah, I do remember. Like, that was always in my head. It was like Sabrina saying.
Yeah, I was shocked that he didn't make day 2.
Yeah,
I didn't see any of his matches. I imagine he didn't walk out of sealed with a 3-0. I imagine he went 2-1 or something like that. But I'm not sure what happened.
Day 1 pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't even know if he went 2-1. He might not have.
I say pretty bad, like he didn't get to play one of like 28 people in Worlds. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
Okay?
I mean, no, exactly.
At every DLC, but
that's what I'm saying. I think every single person there was very deserving of where they were at and are incredible players. But
yeah,
I think that it just comes down to certain people building against a certain deck that was there more, or what people thought were there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, like you guys said, those 28 players that were there were deserving. They earned it. I have nothing bad to say about any of those players, nothing derogatory. My hat is off and much respect to each one of them for making it there. I've played in the DLCs. I've gone and judged them. I know how those things can wear you out. And I know the level of competition that's there. And to get to be one of those 28 is impressive. I think that our best players were there. You know, I mean, some people might argue that there's some that you know, are really good players that are forefront in the community with content and with deck lists and things like that should have been there, but they weren't. These guys are no less deserving. They did it. They jumped through the same hoops that everybody jumped through, and they scored, and they made it. And so once you get there, you start having this like, okay, well, who's the best of the best? So when you start talking about them, it has to be taken in relative terms with one another. You know, it's like,
1,000%.
you know, right. You know, it's like, which Super Bowl champion of all was the greatest of all time? Well, even if you're the worst Super Bowl champion, you're still a Super Bowl champion. You know, it's a.
What I always say, it's something that comes up in our play group. I think I've said it to you, Jake, where like somebody is always going to O2. You can have the 28 best players playing against each other. Somebody has to O2. It's the nature of competitive play.
Yeah. Someone's going to win and someone is going to lose. Unless they draw.
Right. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good player. I mean, was it Mo? Went from O2 to day 2?
Yeah. That was an incredible run he had.
Oh,
I'm going to have to pull a Mo in my future. Instead of an O2 drop, I need to O2 to day 2.
Well, that's kind of how it goes. Like, play out your games, be able to, like, play the game, like, see it out. Because I feel like even if you do O2, there's opportunity just to get into your loser's bracket and then just go on from there and just win.
I tuned in and I saw that match with Mo and Zach. And like, first of all, when I saw Mo was there, you know, I missed out on everything from day one, right? So when I go and I see the top 8 for the first time, I see Mo's there. A little part on the inside of me just jumped for joy, right? Because he's Emerald Amethyst at heart, right? And so, he's a brother. So he's a brother in arms. And so I was excited to see him there. And then I was disappointed he was playing Zach, because Zach's my other favorite player, and it's okay to have favorites, that you're rooting for. I wasn't rooting against anybody. I just actually root for certain people, and so it was, I hated seeing those two playing against each other, because I was like, oh man, one of them's got to lose. But, they played good matches, and it was pretty cool. And I like the hug they had at the end of the match. It was
that was really sweet.
Yeah. So, hats off to those guys, man. It's good playing. I like the format. I thought it was fun to watch. The chess match of which deck to choose was kind of neat. But
it was a true chess matchup.
I was really shocked how many players there. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. When you think of Ed, when I think of Ed, I think of red purple.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of DKP, I think blue red. When I think Mo, I think green purple.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them have an identity, a deck identity that I associate them with. And the amount of times that was not the deck that got stripped from them was shocking to me. Because there's no way, if I'm playing DKP, that I am letting him have blue red. There's not a chance.
Yep.
That's fair. And I think that I'm not 100% sure where their minds were going into this, but I could see him, like DKP specifically, expecting people to ban his blue-red, and then him building a blue-red deck that is completely unorthodox and not like he's used to, so that he kind of throws them off guard in that aspect. But oh my gosh.
Don't get me wrong. He's going to beat me with all three of his decks every day. But I'm not going to play blue-red.
Well,
not going to play.
I 100% agree. And I think that the banning, it kind of really just helped a lot of people, because the cards that I saw that were not what I'm used to is so cool, because people were playing Lilos in Amber, and they can do it because they ban Steel. And then, I just think that that's such a cool way to build your deck, because you're not specifically playing against this, so I can put this in my deck and I can just go sideways and just work that way.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting. I understand why they went to the 5-game format in the finals. So you got to win with all 3 decks. I think, though, if you've been playing up to that point where you've been banning stuff, I think they should have just continued that on at that point. Because you're going to win with all 6 colors to get to that point, probably. Because I think at that point, there really isn't that much of a chess match then, because you're going to play against everything, right?
Yeah, that one, you're going to have to play the one aggro deck against maybe their control or something like that.
Yeah, and so, and you can't ban somebody's strength or whatever. You'd been doing it all the way up to that point. Why not continue it? That was my only gripe, and that's a minor gripe. It's not even a big gripe. It's just a minor gripe.
And I think in the end, it actually ended up working out too. That I feel they still used their decks, and it always ended up being that they would lose with it and then ended up just playing it again, and then they were on the play, and it ended up working out.
Yeah, that was neat. I liked in the final where DKP, I think he lost with the Amethyst Steel against Amber Steel. He set it down because he knew what he was going to be playing against next, right? Because Ed only had 1 deck left to win with.
Yep.
And so now you got in your pocket, well, I'm going to play with an aggro deck. Let me go ahead and tie this up at 2. And then I'll try and win with this other deck on the draw against a deck that I know, And Absolutely. So, it's that's where that aggro deck came in handy, I think, being able to have that killer, I'm going to win on the play no matter what.
The Yen Sid and the Brooms, I think that deck was really cool.
Didn't we talk about that 2 weeks ago?
I think we did at some point, but I don't think it was him specifically who played it, and then he just adapted it into this Worlds format, and it worked.
Yeah, it was somebody else that did it, Charlie CC or something like that they wanted out. So, and we were asking, what's changed about this deck that is all of a sudden good, Because there's no new cards in it, really, other than Cobra.
Nothing really. I think it might just be what they're playing against, or what is just coming to the Worlds meta, I guess. Because I feel like if you take that somewhere, you'd have to be in a specific meta for that to work.
Evidently, the World Championship was that meta.
I guess the World Championship works.
So, yeah. So overall, I think the World Championship, other than the fact that we couldn't be there, which okay, fine, we're not there. I think it was pretty good. I think they did what they wanted to do with it. Announcements and stuff aside, I think the play itself and the format, I think it accomplished. When DKP won, he was one of the people that I thought would win. Therefore, I feel like the format brought the best player out for the day. You know,
sure.
Whether I agree with who the best player is or not, there's only one world champion right now. And so, there you go. It is no longer subjective, so until somebody dethrones him.
Until next
year.
The
one thing I thought was frustrating was, and this is like specifically about the broadcast, there was such a backlash and an outcry that the public wasn't going to be allowed in. And multiple times on the broadcast, especially towards the end, they were talking about how electric the room was.
Yeah, the audience.
How loud it was.
I
and
did
the audience.
hear that.
And I'm like, this just feels disrespectful.
Yeah, but they did mention that it was the members of the families of the people who were playing in, so that gives it a...
One time they said that it was the members of the families, and then they reinforced a couple times afterwards. They were like, it's so electric. And it just, it left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth that
yeah, for sure.
This thing that was a really sensitive spot for a lot of the player base. And then on the broadcast, we're like, I don't even think it was intentional because I don't think they were making light of it, but it was like, how electric can it be? There's like less than 100 people in that room.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, I think that was the point. They didn't want all these people. I don't know if they didn't want all these people specifically. It's just that they couldn't. Well, I think it ended up, what did they have it in? It was on a shipper, a cruise shipper. Where did it end up being?
Really?
I think that's what I heard someone saying. I'm not 100% sure. Or it was in Disney, but it was
the cruise ship
in a resort that they had
there.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the, the French Quarters has those ships on them and stuff like that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But
I know what you're talking about.
I didn't.
I didn't. In one of the event centers.
I didn't listen to any stream because most of what I saw was just without sound at the time. And then naturally Saturday I couldn't watch anything. Sunday was traveling most of the day, delayed flights and all that, just trying to get home. And so how was the broadcast? I know there was a lot of I won't say pushback, but there's folks that thought they should have been there and folks that think certain folks should have been there. And, nothing against the folks who were there because they're all good content creators and they've, pretty good. So what did you guys think of the streamers and the way they presented things?
I thought it was lacking. It felt like a 5-year-old who plays football announcing a professional football game. Like there was base understanding of some decks and some of their, at one point they were like, if he draws whatever the card it was, and it was like, you could see the card in their hand. He doesn't need to draw it. It's in his hand. Like, to me, it was like, if you're going to announce what's actually happening. Like, use the information that we have.
I can see that.
They may have had a slight delay. I don't know.
There's a certain level of, I don't think that your most casual players are sitting there on a summer weekend watching this broadcast.
Nah, probably not.
Yeah.
So I think that it could have been talked about at a little bit of like a higher level. I didn't think it was bad overall. But there were definitely parts that I was like, we could have done better.
I didn't catch the stream specifically. I watched bits and pieces of it afterwards and watched some of the games, but I didn't think it was all that awful. But I liked how they were able to keep the engagement thorough when, they were just like thinking or deliberating on what the play was. They were able to keep the thing going and have
I do like that they rotated.
Not have dead air and just, it was nice.
Yeah, I didn't hear, like I said, I saw a segment with JD and somebody else. That was the only segment I saw. I need to go back and look at it. And it's not that it's not important to me. It's just that, life has me right now on a path of busyness that I was not expecting to deal with. And so it's, I want to hear Baker. I like Baker a lot. We're kind of villain. I really like listening to his stuff. If you haven't followed his stream at all or his podcast, he had one video out there where he kind of had he laid out some personal stuff that was like his deep hitting, and it endeared me more to him in a way, just know some of the things he's gone through. And so, I was rooting for him, just like him. And so I wanted to go back and catch some of his segments. Not that I don't like the others. I like Liam. Liam is as nice as a fellow as I've met in my life, probably. And so it's I'd like to go back and catch some of those, but I got to find the time to do it. So,
There was one other thing about the cast that I thought was side eye. There was a conversation towards the end of day 2, and I believe it was, I don't remember who the one person was, but it was towards JD or JB?
JD.
JD. And he said something he very much was like, I know a lot of people don't think you deserve to be here, but you do. It felt very targeted against a specific person who made it known that they felt that they should have been on the announcing crew.
Ah, okay.
And it didn't feel like he was trying to hype up JD as much as it felt like he was trying to subtly make a dig at the other guy.
Huh.
And it felt like very disingenuous to me.
Huh. Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Can't say I know what you're talking about. So
I didn't catch it, honestly.
Yep. Well,
y'all were supposed, Jake, you were supposed to be taking notes. Kelsey has an excuse. You were supposed
to
be taking notes.
No, I know. I did say that.
Jake was coming on here for a tier list now. Come on.
I'm out here with the hot takes. Like,
no, trust me, still. I was hyped for Worlds, but I'll have to rewatch.
Well, I think overall it was pretty good. And like I said, the stream, I need to go back. I want to go back and look at it because there's as somebody who's, I'm not going to say I'm an aspiring content creator. I just have stuff on my mind I want to get out and I want to build up the community. I'm not intending to create content. That just happens as a side part of all this, right? I'm just here for the conversation. And so, it's, but those folks they're at the forefront of the content creation for Disney Lorcana. And so to see them up there, that's pretty neat. It's kind of like, this is us. When I looked at World Championships, what I always hoped it would be the best players, the best judges and staff, and the best content creators there hyping the event. That's what I hoped for. We got the best players, we had the best content creators, and we got the best judges. I felt like we had some of the best judges there. So coming from the judge community, we were well represented. But the one thing that I didn't mention that you also want to have there is you want the best community there, which I think we are. And that, of course, was lacking, but there's no need. That's beating a dead horse. But that, to me, that's what I wanted the Worlds to be. And I think a lot of people wanted the Worlds to be. It's a big celebration with all of us because it's a celebration of the game, not just the crowning of a champion. It's a celebration of the game. And so I don't think you have that without the community that has made this game, has had a big hand in making this game what it is. The game is good. The game is what it is. It'll stand, but this is a special community. And, so maybe on the next one, we'll get it. So let's talk about the announcement. That's kind of the announcement, right? There were several announcements, but this is the one, because this is the one everybody tuned in to see, right? So Ravensburger has announced the DLC schedule for upcoming season 2, and I'm only going to hone in on the North America part for now, because number one, I am really ecstatic that Brazil and South America got them. So that's been asked for a long time. There's a good player base down there. We have a couple of judges that are from down there. So my hat's off to them for making that happen. We have pulled in Asia, which is great. We knew that was going to happen. And so awesome. Australia got one, just like they did last time. That's great.
Didn't they get two?
What's that? Did they get two?
Didn't Australia get two? Yeah, Melbourne and
nice. Probably
I don't
one.
remember the other one.
Probably
There
one
was
on
two.
the other coast. So yeah, that's awesome. Europe got 3, and then there's North America, which got 3. Now, all the rest of them. Now, I think Europe should have got more, because if there are 2 communities that have really been to the forefront, been at the forefront of pushing Lorcana, it's the European and the North American community. So I would say that they should have been rewarded with that. But a lot of that too is probably like, well, they had the game first, So, but one could make that argument. So anyway, so for North America, we got Milwaukee, Wisconsin, October 24th through 26th. We got Richmond, Virginia, January 9th through 11th. And then we got Indianapolis, June 19th through 21st. In fact, let me just pull this up on the screen. There we go. How's that? Now we can see it. Okay. Let's do this systematically before we vent. Okay.
Wait, can we pause real quick? There was one announcement that came out before this that I wanted to touch on.
Oh,
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, Sabrina.
We're going back to a 3-game format.
Okay. Yes.
Pretty big one, actually. I think that
I
kind
was
of
going to say, we're skipping over the best news that came out
I
of this.
think that I've seen a lot more people
Yep.
be more excited about that, and it drew a lot more people who have maybe been away from the game back into it.
Yeah.
I think it's by far the best news that came out of this is that we're going back to 3-game format.
So are the rounds still expected to be played in under an hour?
I am not sure. I don't think they announced that, but the way it's going to be is 8 rounds of Swiss on day 1, 4 rounds of Swiss on day 2, then a cut to a top 32. And the grand finals will be best of 5.
And then,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did see that. I just forgot about it. So
Backseat again.
what's that?
I will take the back seat again and let you drive.
Oh no, you drive. That's fine. We're on a, so, okay. Some good came out of the announcement then. So let's hold on to that. Right. So, yeah, because we're about to unleash on the rest of it. So, but, yeah, I like the 3-game format. I think that's fine. I honestly, I know people can't build the 3 decks, but I wish they would use the Worlds format for it, to be honest. But it's tough to get people to have built 3 decks, so I understand that. So,
I think, because it's actually something we're talking about in our group right now, I just don't think the average player can build that many.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I get it. Yeah.
Like Jake, Jake, could you build 3?
I don't think so. I mean, I
potentially
could, but
I can build anything.
Yeah, everyone here.
You can't build it because you don't have the collection or the capability.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I truthfully don't think I could do it 100%, so no. But I like the idea of being able to do that too.
Yeah, I think for your average player, but in all fairness, if you can afford to go to the DLC, you could probably afford to find the cards for 3 decks, right? Unless it breaks you.
I mean, yeah. I would definitely find a way. I feel like if people want to play, they would definitely find a way.
Yeah, but I like the format. I thought it was pretty neat. I'd like to see a format where I come with 3 decks and I can play with any of them at any time during the match as long as I win 2 games. That would make it fun. So you don't even know what's coming next game. Oh yeah, you just beat me. You just beat my Emerald Amethyst. Well, never mind. They'd never be able to say that with me. You beat my Amber Steel. Okay, great. Well, you won't see that one again. I'm pull out Emerald Amethyst. Good luck. So it's so I talk all this crap about Emerald Amethyst. That's all that. I'm just most comfortable with that deck. DKP would beat me. So, but maybe
he'd beat us all.
Maybe I do not play meta. That's all I'm saying. I play anti-meta. So.
You won't be expecting it then.
Yeah, that's how it's so successful, right? Is like everybody comes playing meta stuff, and I'm like, I'm not worried about meta stuff.
Sneak onto you.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got the 3-game format. I would say coming back, but we never had it. So, that's pretty cool. I think the 3 cities that they did pick are excellent cities. I have nothing against the 3 cities that were chosen. Just the ones that weren't chosen, evidently, is what I have problems with. I'm happy about Richmond because if I could go there, I'll get to go see family. That's great. I have never been to Milwaukee. So I can't say it's on my bucket list, but I do like cheese curds. So,
Almost exactly what I said. I was like, city seems kind of boring, but they do have cheese.
That's right.
It work.
Can't go wrong with the cheese. And I love Indianapolis. I have a couple favorite restaurants there that I would definitely, I always look forward to going back to when I'm there. Shapiro's. Anyways, Indianapolis is a good choice for city. Now the grouping of them all in the East Coast Midwest seems to have aggravated a few people, specifically the folks on the West Coast, understandably so. So you guys'
Our
thoughts?
friends in Canada got kind of the short end of that stick.
Who's that?
Canada got the short end of that stick again.
Yeah,
At least they had one last year.
I do not need a reason to go back to Canada, but give me a reason and I'm there. So I enjoy Toronto so much. My goodness, did I enjoy Toronto. I would hope for them. I want them to go to Montreal because that's on my bucket list. So,
I was hoping we were going to get a Vancouver one this year, selfishly.
That would be cool. So,
but I think the bigger problem, I don't think there's anything wrong with the cities they picked. I think the bigger problem is the fact that they're all a triangle in the country, and there's a lot of the country just totally left out.
What kind of triangle?
Yeah, very close to each other.
Are they?
A triangle.
If you have 3 points, it's always going to be a triangle.
Yeah, but
you can't make another shape.
They're almost
a square with 3
straight
points.
line. Just because they're not in a straight line and you want to call it a triangle, I wouldn't use that. But okay.
But it kind of is.
I see. I get it. I hear you. I'm just giving you grief. That's it. So.
Gosh, my geometry lesson is
geography.
Not going well. No, geometry.
You're not technically
both.
You're not technically incorrect. Okay. So. But there's got to be more coming. And it's my hope, as I mentioned to you guys prior to the podcast starting, it's my hope that tomorrow or very soon that they announce something either in addition to these, which folks have said there's nothing coming in addition. And based by these dates that they have here, I don't think that anything else is coming on the DLC level. But what I would hope is that there is some type of support for that level in between set championships and the DLC to some extent. That's my hope. Maybe that's too much to hope for. I don't know. But I will say this, and here's my thoughts. You know what? I'm not going to do that. Sabrina, you had something to say, and I want to hear what you have to say before I let my mind go. So, because go ahead.
I feel like there has been a carrot dangled in front of us for months and months and months and months and months and months. And we get to it and we keep being told we're going to get more. And as a worldwide community, we got more. But as an individual North American community, we got half. And on top of getting half, we got these dates that are all spread out. I question wanting to travel on the East Coast in January, especially from where we're at. Like, weather is a thing. I don't know. It just feels like such a letdown. I was really expecting them to roll out 6 DLCs, September to March, maybe back to Vegas and Atlanta, maybe some new ones thrown in there. I wasn't expecting Cheese Curd Central, Richmond in January and Indianapolis a year from now.
The spread of it is odd. I feel, yeah, you're right. It's
The
like
distribution is
October,
bananas.
January, yeah.
Well, I see. First of all, they gave you their whole season, right? They gave you from the beginning of the season to when they culminate with the North American Championship. Now, unless I missed it, did they give us a Worlds date for the next Worlds?
Not that I remember seeing.
Don't remember.
No, I don't think so. I think they stopped the North American Championship, right? In addition to these three here, they didn't even give us a location for that. So they just said it's going to happen. Okay, so let me say this, okay? I love this game, and I think Ravensburger has done a heck of a job. They did a heck of a job with Season 1 DLCs and adjusting on the fly. And I would almost recommend stop planning and go on the fly again because you did a better job with it that way. Because the one knock that I have against Ravensburger is I have never, like, I work in corporate America. I've worked in corporate America for a bit. And now I've gone back to working for the government and the military, right? And the one thing that I have a knock against it, they are the worst group of people at reading the room. You know, like you should have known that if this was going to be what you put out in front of people, that you were going to get the backlash you got. And the backlash is going to continue. Now, the people are so desperate because this is a good game and they know that the DLCs are fine, that there's going to be some that it's like, okay, we'll take what we can get. But that take what we can get mentality is how you lose your players, because the next game that comes along. Yeah, exactly. They got no choice, right? I'll take what I get. They got no choice. And you keep doing that and you're going to lose your players. Now, I'm in it for the long haul because I've told you why I'm in this game. It's because me and my daughter, right? I'm here. I want it to be built up. And so I say this not to bash, but in hopes that they correct it and that they take a deep look and say, you know, and stop being, don't let your hubris get the best of you. Because that seems to me is what's happened with them. Is like, we got a great game. We have a lot of room for error. We can play around. Your community is only going to give you so much, and then you're going to lose them, to be honest with you. And I'm just saying, read the room. In fact, I'll tell you this. I had a funny thought the other day. I saw somebody post, we need more locations. And I said, you got to be careful with what you say, because the way Ravensburger would read that, they'll put more locations in the next set. That's how they look at locations. Right?
A new McDuck Manor.
Exactly. That's what they see, and that's what it seems like they see. And I don't think anybody in Ravensburger listens to our podcast anyways, right? I hope they do. And I hope they understand that this comes out of love. And if you know me, I speak this out of passion, not out of hatred and not out of disparaging anybody. I just want it to be the best it can be for my daughter when she's old enough to start going to these DLCs. And yeah, I'm done for now. Jake, well, you let us know. What do you think?
Well, someone in the chat, real quick, I wanted to interject, said, it's like when Disney announced Cars Land and changing Dinosaur to Indiana Jones. Like, no one asked for this. Exactly.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Cars Land. Get that out of here.
Can we give awards to our listeners yet? We need to give tokens for great comments like that.
All right, Jake, what's your hot take on this?
Honestly, from a newbie in the TCG community, like, this came as just like, oh, this is what I'm going to get for this upcoming year. So I just took it with at face value and just like, oh, these are the places I can go and these are what I have as an option. But like, hearing other people who have been to other events that are larger, bigger tournaments, hearing their anger about it, like, I could resonate with it, because I do understand where it's like, okay, well, yes, we had 6 last year, now we have 3. And then what I see is like, oh, we add some in China, we have some in Japan now, and they added a different amount in I think South America, so we have more that way. But I think in their bigger areas where it is like Europe and North America, when we don't have the support in the places that are gonna bring the most people, competition, money, I'm not 100% sure what they're looking for in some of these, because I don't know if they have like the competitive thought in their forefront. So yeah, I'm hoping that it ends up being that we can have additional lower bracket circuits or some sort of something that people can still play in if they're not able to get to these events. Because it seems like, okay, so there's these three. Say you have something in this one specific point, you can't go to that one, this one's too far away, or you might be on the West Coast or in Canada and just can't go to any of them. Then like, what are your options there though? So like being able to take that and like, obviously from me being on the East Coast, I'm like, ah, crap, nice. I'm sorry. I mean, I have a lot of just places to go now. I have all these DLCs I can
Richmond
go
is
to because
so
I'm right
accessible.
here. Yeah, I can go like on a plane and go an hour away and just be able to go to all of these locations. I guess it is a little selfish coming from there, from someone who is in Washington, or what is the one right in Canada? Sorry, like Vancouver, is that?
Yeah, that's north of Washington. Yep.
Yeah, so like people who are in there who just really want to play Lorcana. I really also want to
Maybe.
play Lorcana. So if they can't play it, I'm like, dang, that stinks. So I can definitely understand.
So maybe the North American Championship will be on the West Coast. They haven't announced
Hey,
that
there you
location
go.
yet. But it's not a DLC. That's if it's going the path that any of the others went, be very limited who can go there. Maybe somebody in the room thought, well, hey, the West Coast is pretty close to China, so they could go there if they want. So I don't know. So.
Yes.
Such a cop out. It's pretty close to China. Well,
That's a joke.
yeah.
Come on,
If you want to travel internationally,
That was-
you
And
need a
speak
passport, not be able
Chinese.
to communicate.
That was me, tongue in cheek. Okay,
So
But
what is
I
that?
genuinely think that they could be thinking that with how these are spread out. Because someone in the
I don't
chat
know.
says felt like Seattle or Oregon would have been a good addition. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, they had
I
a
wanna
Seattle
know-
one, yeah.
I want to know how, in anybody's mind, these three cities seemed like a fair or an equitable distribution.
Yeah, zooming out, yeah, 100%. Especially in North
I think
America.
that
'cause-
some of this has a lot to do with the event coordinators that they chose to run the DLCs probably have some familiarity with those cities, probably had some say in it.
I mean, Pastimes has been running Magic events for years.
Still,
that's who is going to be running this, right?
I'm trying to
and
bail them
Yeah.
out right now. Okay, I'm just looking for everything, right? So
Even Denver, yeah, I agree. I
Denver,
agree with
yeah, that's what
everything that is being said in the chat.
yeah. So I would think Denver.
Oh yeah, and I
I'm
feel
not
like
going to
even
say Phoenix
Colorado's-
because Phoenix is too hot, and I have no reason to go to Phoenix whatsoever other than a
Yeah.
DLC being there. So
I wanted one in Charlotte. I'll take Richmond,
yeah, Richmond.
but I wanted Charlotte.
Richmond's a good choice. Richmond's a great city.
Yeah, I feel like that
Never
would be
been.
nice.
Yep.
Never been to any
I've
of
never
these
been to
cities.
any of these cities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, my intention is to go to all three of them.
I would love to go to all three of them, but
Also looking at going to one of the European ones. So
Yeah, I'd like to go to what's another one? Hold on, let me scroll down. I got it up on the screen still. Bologna, Belgium. Yeah, it was the Belgium one. I was like, ooh, I'd like to go there. You could talk me into Germany in June. That's a pretty cool spot to be that time of year. I don't mind going to Italy, but that's too close for me right now.
that is very close to be able to just book a flight for October.
Right. Well,
I mean,
if I go to Europe, I'm going to go to DLC and I'm going to go see some other stuff too. So this is not just a
plan it
DLC
out.
trip. This is my reason to go over there, but I got other places I got to go see
Exactly.
while I'm over there. Right. So,
yeah, I think that's our plan is kind of go to the DLC, but definitely build in at least a couple days to do
Yep.
touristy things. Because I was like, I'm not flying all the way to Italy for 2 nights to play a card game. Granted, I love this card game, but that is a lot of flying time
Granted, I would do
to
that.
be
but-
in Italy.
yeah.
Yeah, but you could also
And
just
not
do
do
that
anything.
and
Right,
fly
right.
2 hours in country
Absolutely.
Exactly.
and do that in October.
Right.
So,
And eat a lot of cheese. It's funny.
And
Both
yeah,
of the
there you
October
go.
ones have a lot of cheese.
so my question is, if this is what we get, right? And there's nothing else, right? They don't, no more other than we'll tell you where Worlds is and when it is, and we'll tell you what a North American Championship location will be. I'm pretty, those things are still forthcoming. And so, but let's say there's nothing else, right? What do we do besides, well, we go to these events, what does the community do? So I'm throwing it out there. I have my own ideas, but I'm throwing it out there, right? So how do we handle this properly as a community?
I mean, I think there's already a lot of work being done in that area when you have PPG running their own circuit now.
Yep.
You have places like Charlie's and Southside that are running 8, 10 plus K events.
Right.
You have a couple stores up here in the Northeast that are trying to run bigger events. I mean, Safari Zone is putting out 5Ks every set.
So even with the big events, one of the things that I've been listening to and seeing recently in the chats is that even those big events are kind of, they're losing folks. It seems folks are losing interest in them. They're being smaller and smaller attended. Maybe it's because I don't know. I look at it like this, right? So why do people like the DLCs? Why were they so popular? Well, I'm going to start with the most obvious. It's the promos, right? People love the promos. They love this promos that said championships. They love the promos at the DLCs. I could tell you personally that as a person, I have no reason. I don't want to play competitively. We already know this and we know why, just because it wakes up an ugly part of me and I don't like that. But you put a good promo out there in front of me, I'll go and just play to get that promo and then walk away once I secure it. You know, that, and I'm saying that, I'm just being honest, that's a driving force and a motivating factor for me. The other reason that people go is that sense of community, because man, this is a great community. Gosh, it's such an awesome community. I can't speak well enough about it. I am so excited about this weekend because I have been away from the community since January, and other than what we do here, and my local community. So I'm so excited. I'm gonna be there tomorrow night. I can't wait to see some of the people that I'm tickled, right? That's the excitement that I want for these events, you know? So
exactly.
You know, it's, and so it's left up to us to fill in the gaps, right? If they don't do it. And like you said, you got PPG, you got Charlie CCS, and now PPG is going to have a rating system, which is kind of cool. Cool. I'm guessing that Charlie's, I think I read something where they might have one of their own, but I don't want 3 different rating systems, to be honest with you. Somebody somewhere, and in all fairness, these companies that are running these events are businesses. They're there to make money. If they don't make money, they don't do it. Let's just cut to the chase on that. They can love Lorcana all they want, but if they don't make money, they don't put on the events. They've got to make money in order to continue doing it. So they have to run it like a business too. And so, you know, for me, I would love to see maybe Ravensburger even reach out and say, hey, I appreciate you guys filling in the gaps. Here's some promos to give out to your people. So why not just do something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what folks want. And you watch folks show up to those events like crazy, man. Because what happened in Atlanta, all I can speak to is what happened in Atlanta after round 3, how many people dropped.
Just after they get their promo.
They got their Dragon Fire, they were gone.
Yeah.
You know? So it happens at every DLC. They get their Dragon Fire promo.
Promos.
Yep.
We did get
DLC promos.
new ones.
Oh, come on. Don't tease me. Because now I got to go and play just to get one for my daughter. So.
No, the one is so good.
Hold on. Let me look them up. DLC.
Yeah, the Elsa one's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
No, I like the participation one, honestly.
Oh, the Pegasus one is my favorite one.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
It's very cute.
Let's see. Is this it? Oh, no, wrong spot. This is on this page. Rules. Anybody have the link for it? Anybody tell me where it's at? So I don't run around like crazy looking for them.
Let's see if I can find it.
Here's somebody's web page that has something on it. Main event, Infinity format, North America, year. Oh, that's a good page. I should have used this page. Tells us what they are, but where are the pictures?
Send this in the.
Oh, there we go. There's Pegasus, Mulan, and Simba. Yeah, I got Pegasus, Mulan, and Simba up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That Pegasus is so.
I know, right?
Freaking adorable.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Hey, that should be the this season's version of Dragonfire, because a playset of those would be sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, but now Even if you go to all of the DLCs in your continent, you can't get a playset.
True.
Oh, that's it. I have to go to Bologna now.
hurts.
I need my 4th.
Well, you go to the North American Championship, you'll get that 4th one, right?
So I can O2 drop and sit on the floor there instead.
No.
Well, maybe it'll
Call
be in
myself out.
Disneyland and you'll have a consolation prize. You can go to Disneyland, right?
That's
Oh,
true. That's true.
That's cool.
So,
Jake, in the chat, they want to know. Impossible choice. Annual pass or Lorcana trip?
Why not both?
Now
Why
you're
can't you do
thinking.
both? There you go.
there it is. I am not showing my daughter this card.
Yeah, you're going to be working for that if you show her that.
I have already,
Fun.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, I need to start saving up money to buy one off somebody. So, yeah.
The playmat is beautiful.
Yeah,
that
that's
looks really
another
good.
one too. It's like, oh man, if I got that playmat, I would send it to Craig at Mattified. And, by the way, a shout out to Mattified. Hey, what a plug. Did you guys see how I did that?
Segue.
They should be at Fort Worth, Dallas Fort Worth this week. So look for Craig. If you don't know who Craig is, come find me and I'll point you to him. And, he might not like that, but I'll show you. so yeah, they did a great job foiling out those mats. So that would be pretty awesome to grab this mat right here and have him put his touch on it with that foil. Oh, sweet sassy molassie. That would be awesome.
Sick.
So now I'm going to have to play.
Is the Texas event this weekend at the same convention center it was last year?
I think so. I think that they mentioned that it was. It's near the stockyards. So
Yeah.
I
If it
didn't.
is,
I didn't go
plug
last
for
year, so I
anybody
don't know.
going.
Yeah. What's that?
There's a hot chicken place like a mile from the convention center.
Uh huh.
I forget what it's called. It's literally called like hot chicken, I think. 10 out of 10. Worth going.
All right. So I got one place that I'm going for sure. So I got to find a Friday night and a Saturday night meal. Thursday night we're getting in too late really to do anything. So
Oh, where are you going for sure? What's already on the list?
Cooper's maybe or something like that. Cooper's barbecue, some barbecue place. That
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Toby had to have barbecue when we were in Texas.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not a huge barbecue.
yeah, so my friend and I, and we have another one coming along with us. We pretty much agreed. Like I love Tex-Mex food. To be honest with you, it's freaking awesome. I just wish I had more of it here. So that's what I'm looking for is something like that. Barbecue is barbecue to me. I already make a mean barbecue myself, but I cannot make Tex-Mex. So I would definitely love to have some of that. So.
Fair. I'm a little scatterbrained today. Quick other thing about the DLC announcement. Infinity format.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And with its own band list, so
right,
which means higher.
I'm really excited about that.
Still going. Yeah,
That's gonna be cool.
I went and bought a playset of foil Hirims just in case they let him come back.
God.
They let him out the cage.
Yeah, just in
I think
case.
they will.
So, yeah.
Where is everyone from? It's a good question. Kelsey, you want to start it off? Where are you from?
Panhandle of Florida. So that's where I'm at.
I'm from.
Wait a minute. It's not a stalker, is it? So,
No, I know this
No.
person.
they're going to come and find us.
They already know where Jake's from.
They know where I'm from. I don't know what to say.
I'm from
New Jersey.
That's where I'm from. So,
I'm originally from the silly suburbs. That checks out. The Philly suburbs. Currently living in South Jersey with my fiance.
oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm a Philly girl at heart.
All right. I'm originally from Virginia. And you know something I saw the other day? Dick Burns, he has a store in North Carolina. That store is only like an hour from where I grew up in North Carolina. I would say maybe an hour and a half. But I was I'm like, Dick, I know that area. And that's where Dick's at. So I'm like, I need to find him in Fort Worth and talk to him about that. That's kind of cool. So I didn't know that's where he was in North Carolina. I knew he was in North Carolina, but didn't know he was there. And Dick, if you're listening to this podcast,
last year.
so Dick, if you're listening to this podcast and you have not already left for Fort Worth, bring me some George's barbecue sauce while you're there. Got it? All right. So I'd appreciate it. I love some East Carolina barbecue. So, yep. Yeah, I like the salsa, man. That's that might. I say it might get me to play like I'm going to make top 32. If I lock in, I could, but I don't think I'm not willing to lock in. To be honest with you, I'm not willing to put in the work. I wouldn't deserve it. So
It's fair. I feel like this is the season for me where I have to really decide, like, am I going to lock in?
yeah.
Or am I okay with being known for O2 drops?
Yep.
Like, it's one or the other.
I'd rather help my friend out. Maybe he'll win it and I can buy it off him. So
I'm locking.
That's
I think
easy.
I'm locking in too, Jake.
So-
We're locking
Let's
in.
get it, Sabrina. We're there together. We'll be
Let's
going
go.
to Milwaukee or wherever the hell.
I did offer to one of our locals here who he actually got the Let It Go promo in Atlanta. But he didn't go to any other DLCs. He doesn't like flying. And I was like, look, if you want to go to Milwaukee and I'm there judging or whatever, you're welcome to come stay with me in my hotel room. And if you get this promo, your room stay is for free if you give it to me. So just
Legit.
yeah, I'm like, you can give me cash for the room or you can give me the card and I'll pay the difference. So I will accept the Nelsa card as payment. So
Maybe if things line up correctly, we can get a podcast episode live from Milwaukee.
I'm going to try.
We need to meet up regardless.
So I'm trying to figure out I'm kind of in a it's a difficult position for me because when I go there to work, right? And I owe it to people who are paying me ethically to work for them and not for me. And so I thought about, maybe when I go to Fort Worth, maybe I might try to interview some folks. But I was like, when am I going to be able to do this? I'm scorekeeper and I'm the only one for Lorcana. So I got to be at that table, and in order to
doing other things.
Right. I can't be talking to people, even if I got a break. That would be the only time I think it could happen is when I got a lunch break, or other type of break. I'd grab my phone and go and say, hey, can you, talk with me real quick on camera or whatever, because one of the things that I want to ask people is, what city would you like to see a DLC in? I would just like to hear what people suggest. We got some in our chat here. I'd like to throw that out to people. It's a quick question, right? It's a quick answer, And so just to see what the majority of folks kind of just say, I'm just curious. Where do you think one should be?
Charlotte.
Yep. So here, Charlotte, what about you, Jake?
I would like to see one in Florida, honestly, just because it's near Disney.
Yeah, just don't. I would suggest that if you wish for the one in Florida, wish for it in November or December or January.
Yeah, not in
actually January or February is probably the best. Yeah,
yeah.
And even then, it's going to be hot as molasses still some days. So, I'd like to see one in Montreal, mainly because that's, like I said, it's on my bucket list. Boston. I've never been to Boston, although I will take care of that in August. I will be there. So
Boston's great.
Yeah. So I already said Philly, but you guys told me you have PAX, so maybe I'll come there for PAX or something. I had talked to my wife.
In November this year.
You should, yeah.
Yeah.
For Jake's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll do that. So I'll talk to my wife, and my wife gets to travel to a lot of places for her work, and I switched jobs, and so I am now going to be doing a little bit more travel, and so that'd be kind of cool. That's where the Boston trip is coming up. And it's when my beloved Astros are in town. So I get to see the Astros at Fenway Park, which, being a baseball nut, every baseball fan has Fenway Park on their bucket list, and I get to do it. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. So, yep. Anybody else in chat? We already heard some, feel free to drop them in there.
We're hyping Boston in the chat right now.
Yeah, hyping Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll take it on there, Ravensburger. We'll make a list of where you can put the DLCs, okay? We're going to get it. I'm going to find out in Fort Worth.
Give us some more.
In fact, when folks come up to my desk, that's going to be, hey, if you want me to help you, you got to answer this question, right? Where would you like to see a DLC held? And I'll keep a little tally on my tablet as people come up to my desk while I'm there working. So maybe PPG won't mind. So, and by the way, just a little plug, and before we go off the air here, Fort Worth PPG Pro Play Summit this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be there. If you happen to be there, stop by the scorekeeper's table. I will be there. You see the beard. Hard to miss me sitting there. Nobody will be talking to me because nobody knows me, so you can creep right in. Stop by, say hi. Right? I've told you, I just want one person who listens to us to say, I listen to the podcast. That'd be kind of cool, So, anyways, yeah, and then PPG Events announced the next one is in Denver. So that's pretty cool. Applications are open now to be a qualified store to host a qualifying event. They are up online. You can check that out at their website. I just gave them a shameless plug. So
Do we have the dates for that?
Do you? For Denver?
I didn't know if you had them handy. Yeah.
I can have them handy.
The power of the internet.
Let's see what we get. Pro Play Summit Denver. Dun, dun, dun. Bam, just like that. September 12th through 14th.
I would love to, but there's no way I can do Denver then, and then Bologna, and then Milwaukee. My job would have my head.
I'm going to have to start prioritizing, right?
50K.
Yeah, it's tough. Because anymore, it's very difficult to even get evening flights somewhere because with all the delays, those flights that are in the afternoon get booked up with people who, get booked up with people who missed the flights from earlier in the day. So, air travel now is an abomination. It's horrible, man. It's just, gosh, I don't know what happened to it. They went downhill fast. So.
Well, I hope your Denver or your Texas flight goes smoother than my Texas trip did last year. Last year, the weekend of
I know,
Fort Worth,
I know.
Microsoft went down.
Don't say it. Oh,
no, it's not going to happen to you. That's some life situation that would only happen if it could affect me. I promise.
That only specifically targeted Sabrina.
So my problem is. My flight leaves at 7 tomorrow night Central Time. It's only a 2-hour flight, but that's a long time for the day to go along for stuff to happen to cause flights to be delayed and postponed and canceled. So
you're going to be fine. Fingers crossed. We'll be thinking of you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Any party shots before we take off?
I hope it's easier to get DLC tickets. That's what I wanted to throw in there.
I did not go to any last year, so I'm hoping that it's very smooth that I can get in and get what I want.
You're going to be competing with 5,000 people to get 2,000 tickets, so make sure
you don't know. They didn't announce caps.
What's that?
They didn't announce caps for these yet.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
They could be upping it. You never know.
It would make sense for them to up it.
Speak it into existence, sister. Speak it into existence.
I hope so. It's capacity for the events, for the buildings, I guess too. But I feel like they should know that we want to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think they know that. I don't know that they care. Sorry, that came out. It came out at the end. I did a great job holding it in. I'm just saying. I'm kidding. I think they do care. I think that my hope, like I said, is that they fill in the gaps, which is acceptable. I think a lot of folks would accept that. So fill in the gaps with the in-betweens. We like the set championships. You got that right. We like the DLCs. You mostly got that right. If you fill in the gaps, I'll say that mostly got the DLCs right. You got the DLCs right. I'll give it to you then. If you fill in the gaps and give us that in between. I'm thankful for the organizations that are out there doing it and filling in the gaps for us, but they don't connect the dots. For
any
official,
points leading up into an actual official tournament.
They don't connect the dots. So, and we do have a problem. We did have a promise. I heard it on that very first Lorecast when they came back and they were hyping up all the things they were going to change. They had an organized play person who came on there and said, we're going to have different levels of play. We heard that. We're waiting. We have no choice but to wait. So, all right. Thank you guys. Thank everybody who tuned in tonight and who dropped a discussion in the chat. Sorry I couldn't see it. And we will be back again in the middle of next week sometime. either Tuesday or we were planning on Tuesday this week, but I got pulled away for a meeting that made it impossible for me. So thank you to Sabrina and Jake for adjusting. But our intention is to do one again in the middle of next week. And because, of course, Sunday night I'll be traveling for PPG, the Pro Play Summit. I will be there. I won't be able to do it. So we will see you guys in the middle of next week. So until then, happy questing, and let Ravensburger know you need those dots connected. So, and we'll talk to you all
Good
later.
luck to everyone in Texas this weekend.
Yep.
Good luck. Thank you.
Come see me. Bye-bye.
Bye.